Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, this March the 12th, 2025. Daily gold and silver bullion, XRP, blockchain technology, and altcoin video update you've come to expect, love, need, and deserve from the #1 cryptocurrency influencer on social media and insider on YouTube and in the mainstream. And we're looking at from Yas, member of Jabroni Killer, another fabulous member of Jabroni Killers that's getting the first mover advantage. And his name is Bridges in Spanish, a new member right here. I wasn't sure what his name said, but he says it means Bridges in Spanish. It's his last name. And he wanted to look at SHX Stronghold. And if this isn't my Bridges, my man, my lovely new member of Jabroni Killers getting that invaluable, important first mover advantage with truth and education, and most importantly, information to keep you out ahead of the ever-changing market, and the confidence, most importantly, and that's what this channel gives you, confidence and information to make an educated and informed decision on what you're doing. I believe this is the coin that you're looking for. If it's not, please comment to me down below. I ask you to share the station, subscribe, and hit that bell notification, right? And if we look here, what we got, I'm not sure. I've never even heard of this coin, so I think this is what he's looking at. But already down here, that's going to be a major area of support and resistance. It's the mean of the volume down there, and we're going to lock that right there. And that's a big area here. And if we're in the daily time frame, you can see we're having a bearish cross right here. See that? Oh, we want price label. We're having a bearish cross here, where the 50 is now going underneath the 200, the 100-day moving average, just like we're seeing in most of all these other coins. You have bearish crosses across the board, something that we've been identifying, sniffing out and detecting just outside of downtown Detroit, inside the Vincenzo compound, with a current temperature of a seasonably nice and warm 43 degrees, right? And we're having another bearish cross, and we'll clone that, just like we are in most of these other coins. And something else, and the power of Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, having the foresight and the first mover advantage before the rest of the field starts to catch on. We have this bearish cross. We've come down from its all-time high. And now what I would be looking at, and we're at another area of major support and resistance right about here. I'm thinking this thing's got a little bit of a downside action here. Now, does that mean it has to take place? No. But I'm thinking we're probably going to come down here to our major area of support, down here at about the 0.005217. And that is right near the support level that we had down here back at the beginning of last year. And with the reason I think it's going to come down there is this bearish cross. I think you could continue to have a short-term little relief rally like you're having now. But as we kind of squeak up here, this 50 is going to be trending down like that. And I think that overhead resistance is going to come, and I think it's going to drive it down closer to that 0.005217. So we'll keep watching that for you, Bridges, my new member of Jabroni Killers. We have EGLD that we looked at earlier. We'll keep that in there. We have a guy there giving us great, a member. He's been there. You can see with that logo, he's been a member of Jabroni Killers for a long time. New subscriber here. My thoughts on platinum. If you're talking about the metal platinum, I think platinum's going to start to, it's a very tricky market with palladium and platinum, but I think platinum will be on a long-term bull run, as well as the rest of the metals. I think the silver and gold bullion, if you're talking about platinum, the metal, along with palladium, I think those two are lagging right now in the metals market. They've been in a big bear market for the past few years, and I think platinum and palladium are about to have another massive, massive bull market. Quant, I think Quant XUS 001 is going down to $69. We'll take a look at that. And this is the invaluable information that you get when you're members of Jabroni Killers, as our program director is meowing down there, as he often does when we make these videos, because he gets a little jealous that we're not paying attention to him. But just like the XRP price, the first mover advantage that you get, and this is the first mover advantage that you get, where you understand that you're in a head and shoulders topping out short to medium term reversal pattern way out ahead of the field. And this is the power of this channel and the education and information that you get, so you're not surprised, tricked, fleeced, or heisted by the market manipulators and the infiltrated influencers and insiders in the mainstream and on social media sphere. You knew right in here that we were in this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. There was no lollygagging around or moon boy talk. We told you when the pump was on, and then we told you when we thought we identified a potential topping out reversal pattern, and we gave it to you. And that's why you need to become members of Jabroni Killers. That's the power of the Jabroni Killers, is we let you know first. Right here, we identified what was going on. We drew this pattern out here way back then in early to mid-January in yellow. And if you watch the video when we drew this out the first time, we kept it on here ever since January, early to mid-January, before when the price action was right there. And then it fulfilled itself out. And then the rest of the social media sphere and mainstream caught on right about here what was going on and drew the same pattern out. But the thing you need is the information first, so you can't get emotionally manipulated and you understand where you're actually at. And that's the first mover advantage you get with Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. The same thing is what we did when we had that orchestrated and manipulated data news with Bitcoin and crypto reserve that pumped that Sunday morning about 2 weekends ago, 35 to 40% in a matter of 4 hours. We had to come on and make a video because old Vincenzo told you with that first mover advantage on that Friday night when we were here, we were sitting on the neckline and we said this was a technical area for a bounce, and we had it coming up between the 256 to potentially as high as the 276, but with that orchestrated news that maximized the pump and the momentum in a thinly traded weekend and pumped you all the way up near $3. But we quickly came on and said that was nothing more than building out the right shoulder, just like the left shoulder topped out in that same area. So you were educated. You weren't emotionally fearing the FOMO, thinking you were about to miss out, thinking that the price was about to shoot straight up in the next day or two to $4 to $5. You understood with a clear, level head that that was an orchestrated and manipulated and telegraphed data news drop based off being on a technical level for a bounce. Then they wanted to maximize the potential pump by releasing the news on an early Sunday morning where any volume pump would spike the price to try to suck in new investors that haven't invested yet based on playing and toying with your emotions. And then they fed it in a feedback situation and scenario where if you went on social media or you went on YouTube, all the influencers and insiders were touting the pump, were hyping the pump, were playing on your fears and FOMOs of missing out to get you to make an irrational decision. But the power and the education and information from Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing told you there would be better buying opportunities, told you we would slip to 255 again, told you we would come near the 200-day moving average, which just 7 short days later, we came within a couple of dollars of the 200-day moving average, just below the neckline at $2.09. And that was all telegraphed, and that's the power of becoming members of Jabroni Killers, an industry best value for $3.99 a month for the truth and information. And if you want to come on board, if you want to get that first mover advantage, if you want to get the truth and education that you need and information, most importantly, you can just click that join button or hit at Jabroni Killers in the video description or the pinned comment. You're a road to 10,000 subscribers. You're creating a massive movement of information and education and truth so we can spread and change the cryptocurrency landscape, where we're not trying to get you sucked in on emotions to get you to make emotional decisions, but to stay out ahead and be informed, so that way you can get a game plan going for yourself, and that way you can feel confident in what you're doing. Become part of the movement, become part of the journey, become members of Jabroni Killers. And if we look at where we're at now, let's get back to the daily real quick. You can see we've been telling you again, let's make this smaller now that we're not talking about that because that's what we do, that there will be a bearish cross. You can see we're down to 245 in the 50. We're sitting at 229 in the 100-day moving average. And the 200-day is slightly uptrending still, but and in the next several days will start to turn down. And I suspect in the next week or so, we're going to have a bearish cross. And we did bounce like we talked about yesterday after we wicked down just above the 200-day moving average, that you could trade back up. Let's make this bigger right here. You could trade back up if you got on top of the 209 in between the 100-day and just below the 50, and you could get squeezed like this before your next leg to the downside, and that would drive you right down to the 200-day moving average. That, like we've been talking about, just because you flirt with this neckline doesn't mean you're going to break the neckline yet and come down to our targeted move down there at $1.29. But I think that's where you're going to end up, that $1.29. But you can trade out on this neckline for several days to a couple of weeks still, as we have not had the bearish cross. And I think the bearish cross right here is what will be inevitably what drives the price down to that technical target, with the downward overhead pressure that has been building and sentiment that has been getting bearish. But I think once you come down and fulfill that targeted move, you could have a substantial rally from around the $1.29 area, maybe as high as all the way back up to the $3.40. And that's what this area in blue is. This is just all speculation in blue. We have to fulfill this targeted move first. But I think you could see something like that. But then that eventually could be a full lateral pattern move where you end up in a Bart Simpson pattern back down into that blue trading zone down there that we were sitting in, that support and resistance box for about 2 years before we make our next move and our next big, massive bull run, just like we've done several times in the XRP price, just like you did here. You had the topping out head and shoulders, that old Vincenzo on that faithful Elon Musk and the Jeff Bezos Saturday Night Live skit and fleece. We let you know what was going on there and that you would have a multi-year bear market, and you got the first mover advantage. And the same thing here, when you topped out at 238 to 240, you had a multi-year bear market there after 2018. We could just be repeating what's happened so many other times before we have our next major pump to the upside in the XRP price. And that is something that we're watching out for. With the XLM price, we've been on top of this too. We've had the bearish cross now. We're going to have a golden bearish cross as our next call. You can see we're well below now with the bearish cross. We're at 32 cents, 0.32355 on the 50, and we're at 0.3286 on the 100. And then the 200 days even now trending down, just like XRP will be in the future. We're bouncing off of this 25 cents, an area that we thought we could bounce from before we make our next move to the downside. And we were theorizing that we could bounce above the 200, but just below the 50 and then get squeezed. And that's what could drive this price down to our next underneath target down here at about 18 cents. And then we could have a substantial, nice rally, maybe even as high as 32 to 34 cents. But Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, with that first mover advantage, the power of subscribing to the channel and becoming members of Jabroni Killers, as you remember back here, and what would this have been? Late November, early December, after that 63-cent high, we became short, the first and only one to become short to medium-term bearish, and the price now has come down greater than 60%. And ever since that grayscale filing year-end report, it's been on the decline. There's been massive rallies in between there, just like there was right here from 31 cents back up to 50 cents, or a 57% 2-week move. Vincenzo kept telling you that we were short to medium-term bearish. The technicals, the information, and the news and the sentiment were leading me to believe that after an 8x move up, the price was going to substantially come down, and it has traded down. And we told you we would come back to the 200-day. We told you that we would have a bearish cross. We told you that you would come down to the 25 cents and then potentially to 18 cents, and maybe even a little bit further out into the future, down to that 14 cents. But that's what we're here for. That's the power of Jabroni Killers. That's the power of this channel, is we stay level-headed, fact-based with truth to try to change the sphere from being heisters, fleecers, and shysters and pushers to education, truth, information, game plans, so that way you have the best opportunity to accumulate and stack your coins at cheaper prices. We would rather you accumulate down here, which would already be a better accumulation zone at about the 25 to 27 cent level, than all the way up here after a massive pump up here at 60 to 63 cents. You would be in the shit house right now. That by already following this station, if you have never bought an XLM coin, I am not a financial advisor, or an XRP coin, when they're down, that's the time you want to nibble. Nibbling at 25 cents is much better than nibbling at 63 cents, right? It's a much better buying opportunity if you've never bought a coin. But if you've been buying coins for years and you have an average price somewhere around 20 cents, you would rather start reaccumulating at 25 cents or lower versus the 63 cent after a major pump. And that's what we try to do here, to give you the facts and information and truth. Bitcoin dominance, as you know, is still rising. And when Bitcoin dominance is rising, the altcoins are going to fall, and fall hard. If you want to see a mini altcoin massive spike in a short-term time period, you need to have Bitcoin dominance fall like you did right there. Because if you have a fall like that, like we have drawn out here, you would have a massive hyper pump to regain some of the losses that you've had over the last couple of months here, since Bitcoin dominance has really been starting to rise. And that really happened early December. We had some falls, but we've had a big rise from 54.83% dominance to a spike wick high of 64.37 dominance. And that's allowed altcoins to go down 40 to 70% across the board. And if you want to see some of those gains come back in a short, quick pump, you need to get dominance to have another big fall like you had right there, back here into the current time frame, and get back below that 58% dominance, or else you're going to continue to have a sell pressure. The same thing with the head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern in Bitcoin. This is our short to medium term pattern, which we identified right here. Again, giving you the first mover advantage, where you have a left shoulder, you have a head that we're building right now. You're on the right side of the head. You have a $58,000 neckline, where I think you're going to come to. You can see Bitcoin, I believe, it's confirmed now, something we've been talking about for about 3 weeks, maybe longer. We've had the bearish cross, where the 50-day moving average is now in the daily just below, get over there, just below the 100-day is sitting at 91,566. The 50 days now at 91,549.01, which is a bearish cross, something that we told you was going to happen, something that's going to, I believe, in my heart, force us down to 73,000 as our next price. Even if we tweak up a little bit more to 85 or 90,000, that overhead bearish cross will push you down to the $73,000 level. Could be a short bounce there, but I think in the next month or two, we're coming down to the 58,903.89 neckline. Then we could have a substantial pump to build that right shoulder, just like XRP did. And that's the first mover advantage that you're getting, because nobody had this topping out reversal pattern about a month ago other than Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing. And you knew that first, and you were able to have a sound game plan and understanding on the continued market fluctuation and possible patterns here first. And then we could have a nice substantial bounce in the right shoulder for late spring through the end of summer, but then potentially by early fall, we come retest that neckline again at 58,000, and a targeted move brings you all the way down here to that 32,366.05. And that's something that I'm watching out for extensively for you here on Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing, giving you that first mover advantage. If we look at some news, Han launches new ETC for leverage or short Bitcoin and Ethereum exposure. India asserts Garnatech's founder, U.S., I don't know what they're talking about there. SEC is reportedly preparing to drop the Ripple lawsuit. SEC delays ETF filing for Dogecoin, XRP, and others as agency awaits Paul Atkins' confirmation. Let's see here. According to several sources, the SEC is preparing to drop its case against Ripple. Previously, there was speculation that the commission caused the delay, but it may be negotiating tactic from Ripple. In August 2024, a judge ruled Ripple pay $125 million fine and receive a permanent ban from selling XRP to institutional investors. When Gensler out of the picture, the SEC may agree to annual these penalties. The SEC versus Ripple case is pivotal legal battle for the crypto industry and arguably the Commission's most important enforcement action under Gary Gensler. Since Trump's inauguration, the SEC has been dropping several lawsuits and investigations, but there hasn't been many updates about this one. However, this could be all changing. Two well-placed sources tell me that the SEC versus Ripple case is in the process of wrapping up and could be over soon. My understanding is a delay in reaching an agreement is due to Ripple's legal team negotiating a more favorable term regarding the August district court ruling. In August 2024, a federal judge tried to resolve the suit, ordering Ripple to pay $125 million to the SEC. The firm was forbidden from selling XRP to institutional investors. Essentially, Ripple's lawsuit has been trying to get some of these penalties removed. Dropping this suit would be a huge win, but the SEC may be amendable to this agreement. Although there is no formal reason requiring it, it is reasonable to speculate that the SEC versus Ripple case is resolved, or at least something significant happens before Ripple filing deadline of April 16th, 2025. The SEC removed the Ripple suit from its website in January, but there haven't been many updates since. This has fueled a lot of speculation as to the commission's stability. Since this news broke, the price of XRP has reportedly rebounded somewhat favorably. The asset price has been fluctuating widely today, but it has only gone up since these rumors first circulated. Hopefully, this will cause some bullish momentum for the future. Ultimately, however, there is no rush on a resolution. The SEC stalled a few other suits before dismissing them, but the Ripple suit has a later deadline. Ripple will need to submit an application brief by April 16th. So that could be some bullish news, at least in a short-term pump on the news release if they do drop that lawsuit. And we will cover that and be continuing to follow that to see if that is able to swing. And instead of being a quick pump, like we seen 2 Sundays ago on the manipulated news, if after the news breaks and you have a pump, if it is something that can be sustained into new all-time highs, or if it would just be another quick pump and then the news dies down, the sentiment dies down, the buyers that were going to rush the market, and then the price turns back around. And that's something that we're going to follow over the next month or two as the SEC starts to resolve their nonsense and shenanigans that they've been doing for a couple of years. And this was a late update. I fell asleep a little early, but I still wanted, before I went back to sleep, because we have a 5 a.m. wake up every morning for work, I wanted to give you this nightly update. We'll look at a couple of brief coins real quick, and then I'm going to let you go, and I'll be back for a noon update, potentially if I wake up on time and don't have to rush out of the house, maybe an early morning update that you people seem to like so much. But at the very least, there will be a noon update. You can see we're about to have a golden bearish cross in Algo, as the 50-day moving average is well below the 28-cent 100-day. The 50-day sitting at 27 cents, just above the 26.5 cents 200-day moving average. And I believe there could still be a short-term rally from 17 cents where you're trying to rally an Algo up to this 23 cents or the bottom part of this red trading zone. But I believe by then the golden bearish cross will have taken place. And I think that is what's going to drive the price down. Even if we do get up like that blue hook nose bearish reversal pattern shows, I think when we have that golden bearish cross, that's going to be what forces you back down and the catalyst that forces you back down to 17 cents and ultimately the 10 cents there in Algo. Like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate your support. This building momentum of truth and changing the landscape of cryptocurrency starts with you, and our road to 10,000 subscribers. Becoming members of Jabroni Killers gives us that extra added support that we need to keep these videos coming out once a day for free, just like they are, have been, and will continue to always be, as we build and grow our influence and momentum and education and information into the sphere. Peace and love. The Rex Eyebrow J.